Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? That's kind of spooky. Are you sure we don't want to come back in the morning?
Vache? Vache.
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be something nasty in the water. Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kind of hear a voice. It's calling for Vache, right? Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you... Wait. Who am I? I'm very sorry. My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear? Yes, that is what I was once. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with me. But now... No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Perhaps that is so, as I was submerged in the waters. If only I could have comforted him. Is that what you call it? Dissolving? If anything, it was a state of neither fear nor frenzy. I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time. I think I hear your companion. Farewell, then. I am glad that you were able to sense my...
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do this.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle. I was not...
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion?
I doubt I know much more than you. But I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful, and do not act rashly.
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will bring the truth to... Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clorand.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon.
Right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you. If we try...
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really as such. We're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me...
If it were me, I would have joined.
All right.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed somehow? Oh, Paimon's even more amazing.
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases that the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors, so how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink...
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So if you hadn't drunk that cup for me...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as...
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate, but whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger, and hurried here as quickly as I could.
But why would they go after us too? All we did was defend Linny in court and help clear his name. Ugh.
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of. And speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said, oh, and this time Paimon heard it too. But does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hydro when it's used on people who are not from Fontaine?
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime scene, but he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
fast. It's right up ahead, but...
I've been keeping watch, demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Huh, very good. But
I shall find rooms for our...
thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, traveler.
Easy money. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people...
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when
Your father... He was...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me...
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful. In the 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, 3 years later, how could he protect his honor if he's dead? The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial...
So that's why you're so determined to get to...
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, then I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really... If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications and now, here I am
Demoiselle, please. If there is any...
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be... Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our...
Wait! If Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people...
But how could... never mind.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Cora.
Oh! Her? Well, then... Isn't that as good as saying that... Yeah... That's not the sort of...
Miss Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but there was only ever one choice.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I...
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't...
Afterward, Miss Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Thanks. You two should go and rest.
Yeah!
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly. Whether it be this won't do.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too... Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such...
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now, huh?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle. But that does prove that this Vache person is a key witness in the incident.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette. A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept. If the Oceanid you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find—
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard work. In that case, let's go talk to him. Aren't you...
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable Chief. The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
Huh. This place does look pretty heavily guarded.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you towards the exit. Unlike some, we're busy, so please leave if you don't have a reason to be.
No. What I meant to say is,
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys.
we're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even...
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on a
All right, then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is Justin's...
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may—
Ah, I see. In that case, please...
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk to?
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case. There are no records of him either in the files...
Traveler, what if it was...
Is that so? All right, then.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette? Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the— You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed— In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you— If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die? Despised and hated by all, everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just that there are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Navia, are you—
I'm fine.
You're right. Wasn't it still so—
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
What is it? Did you think of something?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene? That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value. Oh? Wait.
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by... Great.
Whoa! What a huge ship! What?
There's no need to be so surprised. My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps a gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers. But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home. we're back!
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partners. You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea? You still remember, right, Malus? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea. If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield. Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never recognizing that. My father decided to contact the dealers in secret. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene. Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also... You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with zero warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as your and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice. Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives. There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly? I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now. I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls, for the victims, and for myself.
Navia.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable, and more importantly, Demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Malus?
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that, but what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next top.
What?
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had, and the serial disappearances case caused 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details. But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public. If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to look sick to me.
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss. To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful were still far
So he chose to die in silence.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was, if Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want, I'm sure he'd be
That fool. Couldn't he have just given it to me straight? No. He might have set up everything precisely because is that the amount of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now? Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, but thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me... Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
It's the location where Synth is produced. When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still...
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious... and there's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war. The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case.
That's true, but things are different now. It should be a lot easier.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my...
Thank you for all of that, Malus.
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy, when I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately. If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then some. After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, the first is Florent, Spina de Rosula's senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
It's a guild in Poisson. Boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the...
So, they're like a sister organization?
Yes, you can say that. When we were it's a bit difficult to imagine some...
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina de Rosula. Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could...
I see. To think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience...
Of course. And...
You're too kind, my lady. And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him. After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spinas. If it might help, you could also pay them a visit.
Aw, thank you so much, Melu.
a new case awaits, my dear partner. I hope we can work together.
Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
It is settled, then. Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus.
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
Oh,
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
Ah, if it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and...
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques?
You don't understand at all.
I didn't know how to face you. Because I didn't know what I could possibly bring. I know only the full truth could bring closure.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but on the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me?
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into... He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it. He tried to be as careful as he could.
They found out about it.
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us. I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to. Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callis had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed away. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband, it was likely in self-defense. It is impossible for me to hate him for what he had done.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if Papa always wanted to be a good man? So why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
Well, things aren't always as they seem.
Yeah. Papa was a
Then you should hold on to that. If a good man had to, regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things is not something I'm willing to just sit back and accept.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination when you speak is really similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Are you okay, Navia?
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House?
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with after my partner here put the dots together for me, can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that—
Let me think. Mr. Callis after that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster, but when I got there, it was already too late.
So you also remember 2 gunshots?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that reason being, Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to but according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on it. About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned, do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying, but hold on. If that's what had happened, he didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine. and chose instead to prove his honor. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
About that, Maloof's told me a thing or two. I'll tell you everything once the whole truth has been revealed.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callus's honor in your hands. And if I may just say one more thing. Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callus. But it was Mr. Callus's trust that allowed me to rise through the rank no matter what others might say. He'll always be the man.
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth. You and all our other comrades at the... Hey, Thierry! It's me!
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss...
Oh, so you've caught news of that already.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, you know. The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson. Callus did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours? You, here for some formal business?
Yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related. We're trying to reinvestigate the details of my father's old case.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority to dispatch Gardamex?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own. Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully get more evidence for your father's case.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. So, if you hypothetically wanted to do something against me, all you would need to do was get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage. If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex. Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
Oh, well, thank you. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your investigation. I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just...
How may I help you? I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? Sure. I will...
Ah, Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the opera.
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the opera.
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew? I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation. Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right?
Yes. I was reminded of your father's case right away.
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can...
Oh, and what makes you...
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callus sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return there. If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more, see if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need Mora. All my wealth comes from Callus's patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
I suppose that's to be expected anyway, even though we didn't make a...
But where should we start? Ah, you're right! Flora mentioned that Callus probably only ended up with the gun because of
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered, and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
Oh? And why is that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission...
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order. Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just... Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the Prime...
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, but who among the three suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex? Uncle Marcel? And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamek. Still really hard for me to imagine, though. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole... Thierry, you say? Huh, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was...
Yeah, had he actually tampered with the mech? If the mecha were taken from the guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when it...
Florent? But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mech?
Exactly. He can't. Who could it be? You know, if you think everything through...
Could we be missing other suspects?
Malus has always been very reliable. The suspect is knowledgeable about this... Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie...
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing and speculating.
Yes. Malus did... We need far more solid proof before we can hope...
Navia, here you are. Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you the guy from the...
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you left.
Wasn't that place built specifically for...
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What? Is that someone you know?
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind...
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
That's what I thought was strange about it. So, if the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to
Right. Because they'll think they've already found...
Yeah. And it'll be a lot hard...
I understand. Huh? Split up? What do you mean? Just as... Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then. I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to...
We'll help you.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malus, Silver. When did you two get here?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require... It's our hope that your confidence will be...
Thank you so much. Then...
See you then! Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going. The location has already been marked on the map, so let's head over. Huh. According to Malus's info, the synth production base is underwater. Let's go and try to find the entrance. So this is the entrance that leads to the synth... Ah, you're right. An important place like this is bound to have a ton of... Navia's probably arguing up a storm right now to stall...
It would appear that I must repeat my question again, Mr. Tartaglia. Do you accept the charge that you are the true culprit?
To be perfectly honest, I don't understand your country's complicated court system, or the reason why... However, I did hear that people who have been charged can choose to participate in a duel to clear their name. In which case, as long as I accept the charge, I can have an all-out fight with that champion duelist I've got to admit, that's one of the most enticing offers I've ever received. When I privately sparred with her last time, she was obviously holding back. Real disappointing.
Hey! Don't you understand? You're currently the prime suspect for a major case. This isn't—
Oh? Sounds like the Hydro Archon wants to lecture me on the— Then why don't you duel me too? I'm the kind of student that learns best in the heat of battle.
No.
Alas, it would appear that communication with the defendant is going... In that case, let me explain everything from the very beginning again. The goal of...
That case had nothing to do with him! Huh? What's going on? Why is she interjecting again?
I told you it couldn't be one of the Fatui Harbingers.
Miss Navia, this is the second time you've interrupted the court but that was an exception rather than standard court protocol. I can very well charge you with contempt.
Oh, please. Did you ever think I had any... We can put that discussion aside for now. I'm not here to argue with you. And if my charges prove true, then Tartaglia...
Oh. A young lady has charged in and offered to clear my name. How fascinating. Well, I'd gotten half bored to death by all these rules and procedures anyway. So I'll take you up on that offer. So, Your Honor, is there nothing else?
You may take a seat for now in the audience, but that doesn't mean the suspicions against you have been lifted. Now then, Miss Navia, who is the person you would like to—
That person is... Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières!
Huh? What Confrérie? Never heard—
I've heard of them, but weren't they—
Oh, is this going to be a friends to enemies type situation?
Please let me remind you, Miss Navia, and if the charge fails, depending on the
Yes.
In that case, I declare the charge to be valid. Miss Navia and attorneys, please take your place. Members of the guards, please contact Mr. Marcel right away so that he may stand trial. Mr. Marcel, you will not require—
Apologies. It all just happened so— I think an attorney won't be necessary. This is
Very well. In that case, since—
I would like to take everyone back to 3 years ago. Only through elucidating what really happened in that case can we connect all the dots.
Navia, do you really think that— Oh, come on. Why would I do that? Callus was my benefactor, and remember, both you and I only ran to the scene when we heard the sound. If that's enough to make me a suspect, wouldn't that make it—
I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture.
Exactly correct, Your Honor. I must refresh everyone's memory about—
I see. In which case, I will recount the findings about that case as originally recorded by Maison Gardiennage. On the day of the murder, Spina di Rosula hosted a large banquet in a countryside estate owned by the Confrérie of Cabrières. During the banquet, all attending guests heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. When the guests arrived at the scene, they found the primary suspect, Callus, holding a gun, while his acquaintance, Jacques, lay dead from a gunshot wound. The guards' investigation did not recover any other firearms from the scene. As a result, they concluded that the suspect's first shot must— The suspect did not dispute this conclusion, and also declined to defend himself in court. Instead, he chose to prove his innocence through a duel. Callus was defeated by champion duelist Clarande in the ensuing duel, and soon— These are the known facts.
The one with the motive to kill was Jacques, not my father. And even so, Jacques still had no reason to pull the— In truth, the third person shot Jacques for after that, the true culprit turned the third person into water, erasing all Thank you for the summary, Your Honor. However, we should revisit the case now that we've gained new information about the abilities of water from the primordial sea. The testimony of the victim's family confirms that Jacques had thoughts of assassinating Callus when he set out for the banquet. Unfortunately for Jacques, the true culprit had already considered this possibility and had sent out another assassin. This assassin first shot Jacques, then turned to shoot Callus, only for Callus to wrestle the gun from him and kill him instead. A pile of clothing was found at the scene. The guards once believed they were used by Jacques as a costume to disguise himself. But since it was raining that day, the culprit was confident that they could use the rain to wash away all traces of their Realizing this, the true culprit caused the hired assassin to dissolve into water, leading everyone to believe Callus was responsible for Jacques' murder. This is the true version of events.
So that's what happened. Wait, you're telling me something as dangerous as water from the primordial sea?
What a great theory. It also explains Callus's and Jacques' respect.
Mr. Marcel, you are the one being charged with the crime.
Ah, but I think I agree with everything Navia just said. In fact, there was nothing in her
Then, may I ask some questions? 1. Do you have the evidence to back up your claim?
I'm afraid not.
Boo! If you don't have any evidence, you should just go home!
I may not have the evidence with me, but I know where I could go to collect it. If we look up the deserted clothes against a record of people who went, we should be able to find a match. Considering the serial disappearances case, the guards probably kept careful record.
That makes sense to me.
Why do I feel like Farina?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. Then why didn't Mr. Callus explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at least mounted a defense.
I've thought about this too, and the answer is actually pretty simple. He felt the dissolving power of water from the primordial sea is an important secret for the true culprit of the serial disappearances. My father could have exposed it for all to see, but he chose to take it to the grave. At that time, Spina di Rosula was in dire straits, and his reputation had already been shattered. He had no guarantee that going forward with the truth would allow What was certain, however, was that it would paint a gigantic target on...
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial
What?
If the secret had gotten out, the culprit would have fought an all-out war with Espina right there and then. I wouldn't have been the only one in danger. Of course, the guards might eventually figure out the truth of the matter and determine that we were in the right, but what good would that do? How can a hollow verdict protect any... Had this opera house ever given my father any kind of confidence in its brand of justice? Spina di Rosula would have had no but by staying silent, we retained the ability to deter our opponents and continue. I was able to become Spina di Rosula's president, which made me harder to target, as well as giving me more time to grow and learn. And once I have figured out the truth and stepped up to the challenge, I will do what this...
So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand. I don't need your apology, your guilt, or your support from the Shat, but since he entrusted his will to you, Clarand, you
so, during the duel, did you believe that Callus was intending to die?
Yes. As a champion duelist, I've fought many battles and taken a countless number of dishonored lives in my line of work. I've seen all kinds of people give their all for the faintest hope to continue living. Just one look and I can tell if a duelist is hoping to live or if they're looking to die. I hereby swear on my name and honor as a champion duelist that Mr. Callus never intended to leave the ring.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions.
I concur. However, Miss Navia, you still have not explained the link between your
Right? What she said was fascinating, but...
Wait, weren't they just talking about the serial disappearance?
Of course, Your Honor. The two cases are connected. In my father's case, the culprit intended to kill both Jacques and Callus. As a result, they planned to act after hearing two, and at the end of Linny's trial, the culprit also only dissolved the victim in front of everyone because they realized they were at risk of being identified. The culprit could only time their actions so precisely if they coincidentally, Marcel attended both the banquet and the trial.
So that's why you suspected me. Even if I'm used to it, though. You've always been an impulsive and sentimental child now.
No need to appeal to pathos.
I won't try to refute your points one by one, but even if everything you just said was true, can you prove that I was the only person present at both events? On top of that, does a person have to be physically present to control the timing? Can't someone remotely monitor the place?
Know what she can say to that.
I know that even with that, you might still think you can reduce the list of suspects. Alas, who won't feel at least a little hurt by an accusation of murder from a girl? But if I were to dismiss this completely, you'd also think I'm not being considerate of your feelings. Do you know what the biggest flaw in your reasoning is?
I suppose you're gonna tell me anyways.
It's timing again. I'm a businessman by trade. From that standpoint, there's no reason for me to kidnap young women. It's a high risk. In addition, I left my home in Snezhnaya when I was young to come to Poisson and work in some trade. My business only thrived when I received Callus's patronage. But the disappearances began before I ever stepped foot in Fontaine.
I do apologize, demoiselle.
No, it's not your...
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Would you like to check the date of my... You can also take a look at my border entry records, or ask my friends and family when I left Snezhnaya for the first time. Could those records and testimonies do something to appease the unspeakable anguish in your heart?
Seems like she got the wrong guy.
At this rate, Navia will be convicted for falsely accusing him.
I think you've done a superb job of dissecting your father's feelings as he need. But aren't you going against all of his wishes and expectations? He wished for you to become more rational, collected, and conscientious. Once you've learned to be more considerate of others' feelings and to stop rushing headlong into things, you'd have met most of his expectations.
This isn't just about me. And the biggest difference between me and the rest of the victims is that I still have the ability to search for the truth. While the people whose families were destroyed by synth abuse, the people who lost their loved ones to the serial disappearances, and the people who... Many people's images are flashing before my eyes. And whose image do you see? Is it a man named Vacher? Oh, so you do know that name.
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've never even heard of.
I was waiting for you to say...
is order. Stabilize.
Game's up. Fun's over.
You asked for it.
Whoa! The floor is going up! Is it because of this mechanism in the middle? That guy really prepared a lot of stuff for this place. Paimon thinks we need to go up, but Paimon doesn't see a way. Let's take a look around. Maybe we'll find a hidden mechanism that'll show us the way up. The water level is rising! Now we can swim to the top! But this is still a ways away from where we need to go.
There is no escape. Torn to oblivion.
I will have order.
Busted. Illusion shattered.
Solidify.
Look alive.
Now the path is clear! Let's go!
Things are about to get dicey.
Gather. This is order.
There is no escape. Now you shall perish. You're dead meat.
guide you. Stabilize.
Illusion shattered. Ha! Ha!
Though, as expected, the mastermind isn't here. That's right. What's all this? Pink accessories, a hair tie, a necklace, even a makeup box. Oh, Paimon sees it too, but why are all... Huh? You mean the girls from the cereal did... And then they were turned into water, and all the boxes of things. They snake. Oh, look! There's an important-looking basin over here, and it's full of water. That means this is where they make all the synth. And that special water, if you dilute it with normal water, you'll get synth. But the pure stuff can dissolve a human. Paimon will take notes on this incriminating... Let's see what's written here. Callus. Navia's father. Oh, this seems to be an event. This should prove the existence of the third person, right? We still have the old dog's a real menace to deal with. Even if he can act whenever he wants to make our lives miserable. The only option... I concur. Let's send someone to kill him. He won't declare wars. Oh, seems like we've got a bunch of correspondence between the higher-ups. What's this over here? Looks like some kind of place. Experiment number 16 aims to verify Jacob Ingold's research conclusions on the primordial... The experiment was a failure. No individual managed to resurface from the water from the primordial sea. Female specimens 22, 23... Sorry, traveler. Paimon will try her best. It's just... that how can someone write something that terrible and you read the rest? Paimon's too scared to keep going. So that's why... Wait, did he really think he'd be able to find a way just by dissolving people over and over? That's just insane! Huh? Isn't that the name you heard by the fountain? Paimon thought he was an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. You mean Vache is the one who did all of these... experiments? So that's it! Vache was no victim, but personally no, that's not it either! If that's the case, why would he want people to resurface from the water? In any case, Paimon will write it all down. There's so much synth here! And so many bottles of ingredients that probably just contain the what? Mixing in progress? Ready to drink? Stock sample? Whoa! There's even fruit-flavored synth? Yep, it's super... We've looked at almost everything... Yeah! We haven't found anything that reveals... No wonder even Neuvillette wasn't able to find that way. Even if we bring all this back to the opera, we won't be able to identify the true culprit. Sure thing. his lover's name? Then you found her. Aw. It's just a normal So many! A whole page's worth! But they're all. The final name she decided. Marcel! Wait, but Marcel's pretty old. Hey!
And whose image do you see? Is it a man named Vacher?
Huh.
Oh, so you do know
I'm merely surprised you'd suddenly say the name of someone I've...
I was waiting for you to
Navia! We're back!
as expected of my partner.
Just how often do you intend to flout the rules of this court?
It's all right, Monsieur Nervalette. Given their confidence...
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
Huh?
We've investigated your lair, and we already know After your lover, Vignier, was dissolved, you kept abducting young women to experiment on the hope. You even created Marcel as a new identity, and destroyed all.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's
This information regarding your past also dismantles your prior timing defense. Well, Marcel, do you know where you... You fixated your gaze on the lover that passed away, instead of paying attention to the living people around. So, you never noticed how we changed, or how we grew as individuals.
You also never understood Boss's real
Or our determination to see things through.
Your determination.
Mr. Marcel, please speak up now if you would like to defend yourself.
Do you really think I pay attention to you? What for? Have you ever paid attention to me? Ever empathized with my pain? Ever known how it feels to watch the love of your life dissolve right in front of you? No one helped me. No one even believed me. All those decades ago, even the officers from the they said there's no way a human being can turn into water. So I must have gone mad from grief. Vignier's death was brushed away by all of you as if it didn't matter at all. Well, now you know, don't you? Ha! Well, it's too late now. You only have yourselves to blame. You set up this ornate opera house in pursuit of your so-called justice, your beloved drama. While Vignier is dead, we promised each other that we would always be together. Wherever she go, but I'm not from this blasted place, so I can't be dissolved.
Hey, is that water from the primordial sea that he's drinking?
I can't dissolve! Can't dissolve! Do you all see? I can't go! I can't follow! So if I can't go where she is, what choice do I have but to try to bring her? I did all of that, and in the end, that accursed Callus, I spent my entire life living on pins and needles, only to get stabbed by his idiot daughter at the very end.
The suspect is exhibiting signs of mental distress. Guards, please...
Don't touch me! Don't anybody come near me! I still... Vignier, please, Vignier! Don't think bad...
At this point, the verdict of this trial is clear. With Mr. Marcel's conviction, the charge...
Fine by me. I was in a bad mood, but after a
Traveler, please submit all the evidence you have collected to the guard. The man now known as Marcel was originally named Vacher and worked as an adventurer with his partner and lover Vignier. During an underwater expedition, Vignier accidentally came into contact with water from the primordial sea and was dissolved in front of Vacher as a result. Vacher learned of the primordial water's existence through the work of others and began to kidnap young women for research, with the goal of discovering a method to cover his tracks. He invented the new alias of Marcel and began to operate a business in Poisson. During the course of his research, Vacher discovered that a diluted concoction of water from the primordial sea can induce feelings of euphoria, and began to manufacture and market synth. However, as he accumulated wealth to fund his continued research and expanded the scope, he came into conflict with Spina di Rasula. After exchanging blows with Spina di Rasula for many years, Vacher decided to assassinate their president Callus at a banquet. Although the assassination did not go as Vacher expected, he was able to turn Callus into the murder suspect by dissolving the assassin he sent to the... And just recently, Vacher attempted to frame Linny as the culprit of the serial disappearances case, using a similar method. However, his attempt to frame Linny failed, and the power of water from the primordial sea became public knowledge. This case also exposed enough of Vacher's machinations that he was eventually successfully charged. Thus concludes the enigmatic history of the serial disappearances case. The Oratrice will now deliver the final verdict regarding the... According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, guilty.
Guards! Take Vacher away.
Good. It's what he deserves.
With that, the serial
We really just witnessed history. Who would have thought the true...
Yippee! We have now... He's hurt so many innocent people. Huh? Are you okay?
Demoiselle, you were absolutely brilliant.
The day our late boss had always hoped for has finally come. You can...
Yeah. See, Papa?
Well now, hasn't this been a most delicious piece of drama? The villain has been caught, justice has been served. Since it's been such a great show, I'll just let the false accusations against me slide. Either way, I've still got...
Please wait just one moment, Mr. Tartaglia.
What now? None of...
According to court protocol, since this trial was initiated due to a charge against you, a verdict must also be made.
Oh, come on. Is this really necessary? Haven't you already...
Please respect the laws of Fontaine.
All right, but this sure is a lot of hassle. All I need to do is stand over the...
Through evidence presented in the public trial that was just... The guilty party has been identified, and thus it is... We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse... According to the judgment of the Oratrice... Guilty.
What?
Hey! That's not funny! Didn't you just say I'm supposed to be innocent? What's with this verdict? Is your justice machine malfunctioning?
Huh? This has never happened before. The
I mean, have you ever heard of an innocent Fatui Harbinger?
But weren't the charges about the serial disappearances case? No matter...
The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal is by law. Guards, please take the suspect into custody.
So this is how justice is done in Fontaine. What a joke. You've got your rules. Well, I've got mine too!
I am sorry. If you have been wronged, we will find the truth. But the rules of the court must be upheld.
Hey,
apologies. This is also the first time I've encountered such a situation. However, according to the rules established at the conception, all I do is follow court procedure. As for why the Oratrice arrived at the conclusion it did, you should probably ask someone more knowledgeable than me.
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me!
What does Lady Farina mean by that?
She says she has no idea either, but that's impossible.
Yeah, so are the verdicts reliable or not? Can results like this really be called justice?
My dearest citizens, don't tell me. You thought even I had been blindsided by the
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place. And, of course, if you thought Childe had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, and everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, all shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my noble intentions. And now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end.
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, however, please be assured that I will continue to investigate this case in a personal capacity.
All right. Even though we feel pretty badly for... After all, he's done plenty of bad stuff. So he...
Hey, what are you doing? Quick, stop him!
Traveler! Hey! Traveler!
Marcel! What are you doing over here?
Stop resisting arrest! Cease, or we'll add...
No, wait! I just want to ask the Traveler something. I'm not looking to run away. Please, just let me ask this one small thing.
Go on.
Thank you. I was being led away when I finally realized something. Where did you first hear the name Vacher? I erased all records of that name.
Are you still trying to prove your innocence? Give it up, you've already...
Really? You did? You're sure? You met her? But the Fountain of Lucine? Then... Please give me a chance to talk to her again. Just let the Traveler take me to the fountain to see her one last time. This is the last request I'll ever make.
What? Give an inch and you want to take a mile? Do you think serial kill...
Paimon agrees. Why should we...
This request, is it worth as much to you as your life?
Of course! Wait, no. It's worth even more.
Humans. Will they betray the instinct to live just to satisfy spiritual needs? Very well. I will grant your request.
Your Honor, I fear that...
I will go with him. You do not need to worry about any escape.
In that case...
Thank you, Your Honor. Is this the place? You said she's here, but what do I need to do to see her?
Yeah, and even Paimon could hear her.
Vacher!
Ah!
Yes, that's it. So you...
Vinier, it's me! It's...
Vacher?
I'm here!
Hey, wait! Be careful!
Vinier, is that you? It's me, Vacher! Vinier!
Vacher? Why did you come? Didn't I say? You don't need to look for me. You look a lot...
It's been more than 20 years. All this time. Only the thought of bringing you back has kept... I must be dreaming. Who would have thought it? Vignere, you are my everything. I really don't know how I could live without you.
But Vache, if you ask me, this world would be better off without you.
What are...
If not for you, I would have finished my law degree and probably become a top-tier attorney one day. If not for you, I would have continued to pursue my love of the arts, and my works would have been displayed in the Palais Mermonia itself. If not for you, I would at least have been able to take care of my mother. And she would not have grown... It's all because of your selfishness, Vache.
You... Wait, you are not...
You're right. I am not Vignere. I am the sacrifice. Every woman who died by your hand, as our bodies dissolved, our consciousnesses flowed back to the primordial sea. Our thoughts circulated endlessly within the primordial sea, and we were no longer individuals. I'm Cressy. I'm Lemony. I'm Azine. The only one I am not is Vignere.
Why? But then, where is Vignere?
She doesn't want to see you anymore. Every tendril of her consciousness, this is what you get for your selfishness. Your selfishness robbed us of our lives and our futures. You said time and time again that you'd... But did you ever consider whether she'd want to see you do the things that you did? If she would despise you for what you be... You are a liar, a heartless murderer, and a cowardly narcissist. The only thing you are not is Vignere's beloved. From the moment your first victim died and her consciousness merged with Vignere's, she has had nothing but pure...
No! Vignere!
You still don't understand. When I said don't look for me, that came from the real Vignere. She really doesn't, but on top of that, she also said that because it's her final drop of pity for you. She said that because she knew that if you did come here, we will show no mercy to you.
Vache.
Vache? Vache. 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 Drown.
Finally, we have some time to do shopping. Gosh, it's really been a long time since we've been able...
Well met, partner. I knew...
Even this weather can't put a damper on the demoiselle.
It's a pleasure to see you both again.
Oh, hey, Navia! It's been a few days.
Oh, now that I believe. I'm easy to work with and always bring...
Sounds like you're really enjoying life these days now.
It's just been one thing after the other. I've been making non-stop trips between Poisson and the courts in Seine. Everyone from Spina di Rosula organized a memorial for my father. We never held a memorial when he... This time, though, everyone in Poisson...
So his name's definitely been cleared now.
It's been the dearest wish of
That blasted stubborn Oh, by the way, I ran into Charlotte just after I left the memorial service. Well, maybe it'd be more accurate to say...
Huh? So you know Charlotte too?
Yeah, way back when I first became the president of the Spina di Rosula. I believe the story was called The True Heart of Darkness. Secret, to be fair, though. It was a really flattering feature. She was trying to lean on our friendship to get me to do an exclusive piece on the serial disappearance.
Oh yeah, She told us about that. She's always been...
Anyway, I told her to make sure that when she writes about you guys entering the opera house with the critical evidence, that you both...
Now that's another thing to...
Oh, and in other news, I also took Clorand out for a meal.
Oh, are you two on better terms now?
While you were investigating Vache's headquarters, Clorand gave testimony on my father's behalf. It was thanks to her that we were able to turn the tide. I wanted to thank her. I mean, there's also no point in being awkward all the time, so we took the chance to reconcile with each other.
Oh, that's great! Paimon also thought Clorand wasn't actually a bad person. It's always good to have more friends.
Anyway, now that the case has finally been solved, perhaps it will slowly begin to fade from the public consciousness. Oh, actually, there's still one last thing I need to do.
What is it?
I should pay a visit to my father's grave, and tell him the truth of what happened, as well as how it all ended. And on top of that, just how much people still look up to him, to this day. That includes me, too.
Miss Navia.
Indeed.
We want to go too! We also think Callus is a really admirable person.
Sure thing. I'd like you two to share the moment with me. After all, without you, there might not have been such a positive ending.
And in that case, everyone, let's be off. Considering the recent weather, we'll be lucky if we can reach Poisson before dark.
Yeah, you're right. It's been raining non-stop for a few days now. This is...
Huh? There's someone there. Isn't that Neuvillette? Why would the Chief Justice be here? Huh? Navia?
My apologies. I should have asked before coming to pay my...
Don't say that.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was trying to say there's no need. I wanted to show my father how much I've grown. But still, I doubt I've grown.
In that case...
You really could use some pointers on understanding human emotions, Monsieur Neuvillette. In any case, why did...
Well, ever since that day, I've been turning a... There was once a time when I didn't want to believe that there could be anything more important to humans than life itself. Oh, rather than that, it's probably more truthful to say I didn't believe humans were capable of resisting the most basic instinct of living things. That they could rebel against their own nature, which is also why I didn't stop your father from beginning that fateful duel. I believed that a truly innocent man would never throw away his life like that. That there was nothing, but Mr. Callus proved me utterly and decisively wrong. If not for his sacrifice, the serial Mr. Callus made the choice he did for his daughter, for his associates, and in the end, from a certain perspective, one a justice that's higher than life itself. So, you asked me why I came here. I just wanted to say my apologies to Mr. Callus in person. I should have noticed all of this. This regret has filled me with a sadness that has haunted me for days. That high and mighty chair in the Opera Epiclese indeed insulates one from many important things. Spina di Rosula, thank you so much for your...
So, you're actually one of those types that's cold on the outside.
Sorry about that. Self-expression is not one of my strong suits.
Didn't I just say you don't need to apologize?
So Navia and Neuvillette seem to have made their peace. Let's not disturb them for now. We can wait. Paimon's never paid... Huh? Oh, Paimon did... Oh, no. Anyway, Neuvillette is still standing around there.
Oh, it's you two.
We ran into Navia on the streets
I see, I see. Then is there something that I can help you with?
Well, it's pretty hard to run into you like this.
Please feel free. Though outsiders, you helped us solve one of the greatest mysteries in Fontaine, and it would be my pleasure.
So, at court, the bad guys were...
Truthfully, that name is already quite accurate. I can only surmise that Vacher and his ilk only... There used to be a special sea on the surface of this planet. The nature of its seawater was rather different from that of this. Most of Tevat's life forms were first born in that special sea. You could say it nurtured much of the life on this planet.
Huh. So it really was where everything began.
But today, the primordial sea no longer exists on the planet's surface. What Vacher discovered must have been some kind of special case.
Huh. So that's how it is. Oh, you really know...
Indeed. Why would the primordial sea, which was known to engender and nurture life... To be frank, that also doesn't match my understanding of this world and its laws. There must still be some unknown secrets around the people of the... Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? That the sea levels will rise and everyone will be dissolved in water, leaving Farina crying alone on her throne, but the sins of the people will be finally washed away for good. Does that appropriately summarize the version?
That's right! It was Lenny...
Yes, up to the present, I think we reached a point where we have no choice but to confront... Rumors have it that this prophecy is rooted in the last words the former Hydro Arc...
A prophecy? Of the former?
2 parts of the prophecy have already proven correct. The rising sea levels, and the ability of the people of Fontaine to be dissolved. Speaking of the prophecy, Farina has also always taken it quite seriously. If the rumors were true, then perhaps this prophecy is the conundrum left to Farina.
But with Farina being the way she is...
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? My apologies. My investigation. However, I still believe the judgment of the oratrix.
But you also...
For many years, I have been quite aware that the oratrix does not simply mechanically repeat the verdict that, as a divinely created mechanism, the people's unified faith in the concept of justice is integrated into... Not only can it produce the incredible power of indemnitium, but it likely also possesses... Which is all to say, I have been prepared for a situation like this for a long time.
So when Lenny told us that he heard a human voice from the room where the...
I was not aware such a thing had occurred. Perhaps that could... In any case, I am inclined to believe that the oratrix does have a methodology all its own. We just do not have enough information. Based on Farina's reaction, I doubt even she had any idea what was going on. She managed to... While we do intend to get to the bottom of this, for now, we regret to say that the Fatui Harbinger will just have to bide his time in the fortress of Meripede. If we did incorrectly convict him of crimes he did not commit, we will most certainly...
If you ask Paimon, the only compensation he'll want is a no-holds-barred fight with you.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? Your sibling, another blonde-haired traveler. I'm sorry, but I've never seen anyone who matches that description. If she ever stepped foot in Fontaine, I'm sure she followed our laws to the letter, and had no reason to appear on the stage of the opera Epiclese. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me about? Very well. It will soon be time for me to leave this blissful tranquility behind.
You really are super busy, Monsieur Neuvillette. Paimon thought you only came here to pay your respect.
Crime and villainy do not have the day off, and so justice must work around the clock as well.
All right. Huh? Paimon just noticed that the rain has stopped.
should be a lighthouse of truth.